Weather.
Not as damp today, but there's still going to be a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon and evening. Not expecting anything severe. Nice pleasant high of 70 degrees with a northerly breeze at 10 to 20 miles an hour. With your Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist Rana Williams.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. So I posted a couple of things on my X feed. The association has been straight fire since the Luka trade. Thanks, Nico, end quote. And number two, quote, no lead is safe. Overrated my bleep. Pacers, you're welcome. Jungle karma, end of quote. Man, can you imagine Tyrese Halliburton's peers voting him the most overrated player in the league, only to see him stab somebody else right in the heart again Tuesday? In this case, the Cavs in their own building with that step back three to snatch their souls. Hey, peers of Tyrese, hate much? A truly terrible take that is aging even worse. Meanwhile, as of now, we don't know how much time Steph Curry is going to miss after tweaking his hammy in Game 1 versus Minnesota, but it's impossible not to hurt for one of the league's all-time great players and ambassadors. Fact is, sometimes it's hard to watch the association in season, but it's near impossible to take your eyes off it this postseason. I'm Jim Rome.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8 year old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month. Then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensate for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Glad to be here with you. It is Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester. Max Power with us this morning. You're with us in lots of different ways this morning, whether you're listening to us over the air, watching our video stream, or catching us on the Odyssey app. We appreciate you each and every way you take us in. You can call us at 869-1240. You can leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app, or you can comment on our video streams or directly to us on social media. Facebook, YouTube, X, we're there. And, of course, thank you for watching us on 12 News Connected. Again, it's a busy time of the year, a lot to get to. NBA playoffs continue. One game last night to deliver an exciting ending. The other, a little revenge game for the team closest to us with Oklahoma City. In the NHL, one of Max and I's teams win and one does not. Max, I don't know what our panic meter needs to be on the game ones there in hockey, but we've got money on the line here. So we might touch on that. Shockers add a huge recruit. I say huge. Relatively speaking, though, it feels like another big one. They've landed a couple that make a ton of sense, if nothing else. We'll talk about that. And Portal Paul and the work he's done, which is now, I think, nearing completion just by available spots on the roster. So we can take a deeper look at that. And Tommy, the Royals, 13 out of 15 now. Winners again last night.
14 out of 16 after last night.
In those, I don't know what it is in 16 because I saw the stat for 13 out of 15. 32 runs allowed in 15 games for this pitching staff right now. It's just been remarkable. Michael Wacha was really good again last night. Lucas Ursig was really good again last night. Carlos Estevez was not really good last night, but he got the job done. which is fine for a closer. A lot of closers don't get the job done on their off nights. That was clearly an off night, and they just are. I mean, they're pitching their tails off right now, and this has been one of the hotter of a team that's been streaky for a while, and a team that was, I think, streaky in its last great run that it had. This may be the biggest heater. I'd have to really go back and look at that, but I don't remember a stretch of 13 out of 15 games. Man, that's crazy. The way that they're winning right now, and they're keeping pace in a good division, and they're taking care of the schedule, which is what we've said a billion times they'll need to do this year, because they're playing in a good division, and you got to win these. You got to win these winnables, and that's what they're doing. And they try to sweep the series now with some day baseball today. So it's a good time to be a Royals fan. It's a good time to be a sports fan, because we got all kinds of stuff for you. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, happy Thursday. Good to see you. You laid it all out there. There's a lot going on. Really, really busy right now. And I think the only caveat with the Royals last night, if you can think of one, is the fact that both the Tigers and the Guardians won as well. Guardians won a little bit earlier in the day. The Tigers were in a battle with the Rockies. But if you're going to go up against Colorado, more than likely you're going to beat them. And ultimately, the Tigers were able to do that. So you say the Royals keep pace. That's true. Eventually you'd love to see the teams in front of them drop a couple, here and there. But, still, they've got an opportunity for a sweep today against the White Sox. A 4-game home sweep would be phenomenal, against a team like the White Sox. So looking forward to it, and, looking forward to jumping right in.
Yeah, we can, because we'll dig into the game when we have a little more time. This first segment off the top, let's start with what you just talked about in the division. So the Royals, if you just go to the last 10, which, like, when you're looking at the standings, they've won 8 of the last 10. Detroit, Cleveland will have 7 of their last 10. Minnesota, 6 of their last 10. I think that the Twins are not as bad as they started. They have a positive run differential. Like, in all of this, they're 3 games under 500, but they've got a positive. They've got a better run differential than the Royals. And that doesn't mean everything, but it's usually a pretty good indicator of what's going on for teams. And, oh, by the way, speaking of that number, Detroit is the best run differential in baseball, Tommy. Cleveland appears to be, a really good offensive team that is struggling to pitch. I don't know if that's going to hold through. They haven't pitched well at all this year. Detroit's been one of the best offensive teams, and believe it or not, they've actually pitched just a tick better than the Royals have thus far this year. Now, not on a per-game basis. I'm just looking at the overall. But Detroit is, we thought they'd be good, right? We thought they'd grow from last year, and it was for real. I don't know if I thought they'd be this good. Like, they're insane right now.
Yeah, I think it helps when you've got Tarek Skubal anchoring that rotation, and they've got really, really good young pitching behind him. And then, I think one thing that people forget about quite a bit is who their manager is. It's AJ Hinch, and, he's got championship pedigree from his time with Houston for sure. And I wasn't sure we'd ever see him doing it again. And even at this level, taking over a Detroit team that, I think is historically underperformed and underdelivered. And, that was looks to be a really great hire for them. They've come into their own, towards the end of last year for sure, and especially this season so far. We'll see if they can maintain that. But at least right now, they're not really showing any signs of weakness.
Yeah, and I think had we not seen what they did last year, I'd be more prone to be like, yeah, I don't know how real this is. But it was real for at least half of a season. At least half of a season a year ago, and they just kind of picked up right where they left off. I think it is for real. I think that they're very good. I'm still trying to learn a lot of their players, honestly. Like, I know, they've got a lot of great young players, and those series this year, and I think the next one comes pretty quick between the Royals and Tigers, are going to be a lot of fun, I think. And the next one comes in late May. So we end the month with a 3-game set with Detroit there to end this month. But it'll be fun to watch it. It'll be fun to watch both of these young teams do what they do and see. Cleveland, I'm never going to count out, because Cleveland's always there. But the division, think back, again, I know we've said this before, but think back 4 years ago. Who would have ever thought the AL Central would be the kind of juggernaut that's probably the best division in baseball? NL West, AL Central. No disrespect to any other division because there's some good ones. Like it's at least as good as any. So we'll get more into the Royals as we go along. We'll get more into the Shockers. It's a fun day. Look, Tommy, I'm excited about Shocker basketball. I got to tell you. And we've been very honest about the happenings. I'm feeling it with on paper, and it's May, who knows? But on paper in May, I feel pretty good about it. I like this group and the way it looks. Maybe I'm crazy, but it seems good to me.
Are you able to articulate why?
Yeah, because yes, I am. I don't know if I can do it in like 30 seconds here.
Well, yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's shelve that.
I mean, look, I'll tell you, and like, because I can sum mine up pretty quickly. Yeah, sure. I mean, again, on paper, yeah, great. Like we know what these guys have done at their previous stops and all of that. I have no idea how they're going to gel together, how it's going to work, all of that. And so, like, sure, like it's great that they've been able to go and fill the spots that they filled because they absolutely had to basically rebuild from the ground up. And so that's something that, yeah, you can give Paul Mills a significant amount of credit for being able to go and, find guys that at least on paper look like, that they can be game changers and difference makers for this team. No expectations idea actually going to go through to fruition.
Expectations are impossible. I don't know what to expect out of KU. I know that on paper it looks pretty good, but let's dig into that. We'll start there. We'll start with the Shockers. Portal Paul's been doing some work. Let's go there. Jason, we see your comment on the Royals. We'll get to that later in the hour, but we'll go a little Shockers here as they make a late addition yesterday that seems to fit. That's next on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
what is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together.
Make yourself known now.
8310 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here with you on this Thursday. A lot to get to today. We want to start with the Shockers, though, because they made an addition yesterday to kind of round things out, we think. Taylor Eldridge says that it likely finalizes their roster pending this House settlement that's out there. But if we look at Mike Gray Jr., Tommy, well, first, let's do this first. We saw what they did with Fresno State player, right? If with everything we've seen on paper, I said to you, yesterday morning, what do you think the Shockers must still and need to still add to this roster for it to be complete? What would you say?
I mean, for sure, ball handling, for sure, somebody that can, be that guy. Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's what they add, so A, that shouldn't surprise us, but B, they go get one that makes sense from Nichols. Michael Gray Jr. Did Nichols make the tourney last year? I think they might have. No, they didn't, but they have in years past. So whatever. They've been a decent program. You go get a guy who last year in his junior year took a step forward in his career in sort of a big way. 11 points. He didn't have a lot of assists. So that's where it gets a little interesting, because Taylor Eldridge calls him, and I'll trust Taylor on this stuff because he follows it closer, a scoring-oriented point guard. But a point guard, so it's not like he's a distributor, but he scored 11 points a game. And again, Tommy, here we go with this. Last year, he shot better than 40% from three. And that's not just on a handful, right? He was taking about 5 threes a game, a little more than 5 threes a game. So he can shoot from the outside, he can score, and it fills a role on the roster that we were still sort of waiting for. I think all of this is on paper. But I as we look at this thing as a whole, and Portal Paul, as he famously called himself, I think has done a good job. I think if we took this class and we took away like the disappointment of losing Washington and Ballard, which, make no mistake, was very disappointing, and you just look at like, okay, here are the pieces, here's what they've done. The fit seems to be there. They checked a lot of boxes. It's going to be a defense first team, most likely, based on the early movement there. I like the look of it and what they've done with it. And as far as like we're guessing, we're guessing with everybody. Like we're guessing with KU. What's Darren Peterson going to look like? What's Flory Badunga look like in a expanded role? And then it's a bunch of questions for KU. So we're guessing with everybody. There's not a lot of teams this year in college basketball that return much because of the wildness of the portal. So as we're just having to guess as much as we are, I like this right now for the Shockers. I think it looks fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that he checked the boxes and did what they needed to do to rebuild that roster. I've thought for quite a while, and I think I've even said this on the show a couple of times, that I didn't think that either one of the guys that they had on the roster that were potentially going to be point guards were going to be the point guards, or at least should be the point guards. And maybe Keandre Kendall, the Barton transfer, can show that, he's worthy of a bunch of playing time and all of that. I don't know. But both Kendall and the other, what's his name? Kenyon Giles. Both those guys don't provide a significant amount of height. They're both pretty short, pretty small, and that can work for sure. But, Giles is 5'9", coming out of UNC Greensboro, was effective there. And who knows, like that maybe will work. Kendall is 6 foot. They needed some size in the backcourt. They got that with Amunike, the Fresno State transfer that we talked about earlier this week on the show. And then they get it with Gray, who is 6'2". So they get a little bit of size in the backcourt, which I do think is important. And, so
it is,
again,
if you're going to be a defense first team. Yeah.
And absolutely. And that's going to be the identity of the team. Anytime, you're like, okay, well, these guys, shot well from 3 and they're, score first type guard. Okay. Like that's great, but that's clearly not going to be the identity of this team. And so being able to have a little bit more length, see if they can have that defensive prowess from both the front court and the back court. That's what I'm going to be looking for going into this season. And they did add some pieces from a defensive point of view that absolutely should be able to improve where they've been in that regard. Guys like Karan Boyd, who was the conference defensive player of the year last season when he was at East Tennessee State. Jarrett Valencia, who grades out as a big-time defender, and he came over from Monmouth. So, I mean, they do have some pieces there that can absolutely help them defend. That's what I'm going to be looking for going into next season.
Yeah, when we don't know so much about the players, that's what I mean. I think that's all we can reasonably do is like, okay, what do we think this looks like next year? I think we agree. It looks like a team that's going to emphasize defense big time. And I'm good with that because I think that always raises your floor. But then, for a while when we were looking at this, we're like, yeah, that looks good. But boy, they sure look like they're going to be offensively deficient at this point, right? And that's okay. Like you get ugly, you do those things. I'd rather be that than the alternative, a team that can't play any defense. But that's what makes me like these last two so much is I don't know what a starting lineup looks like. I don't know any of that stuff. Who's going to, is there any distributor on the team? I don't know any of that. But what I do know is they needed guys that could score. They needed guys that could shoot. And they got a couple of guys who have done that. One of them in the Mountain West. So it's not, there's not like a massive step up in competition there. Like you do it in the Mountain West. Mountain West was better league last year. And the other comes from a program that we pretty consistently see playing tournament basketball and Nichols. And so I like it. I think it all makes sense. How about that? Like it all makes sense together. I also like, and maybe I like this even more. And we talked to Kevin Saul yesterday, and I tried to ask as best as you can ask. Like, you ask for $1 million, how's that going? And of course, they're not going to, they're going to tell us exactly how much money they've raised. At least I don't think they would. I should ask. But what was the term he used? 500 times better than what he inherited, which was almost nothing. So I think the other thing that you take from the class, if you're a Shocker fan, is those efforts are paying off at least a little bit. There's no way that the last two guys, Emenike and Gray, were not coveted in the portal, at least by comparable schools to Wichita State. There's no way two guys who can shoot the three that way, as much as that's valued now in college basketball, were not, I'm not saying they beat Kentucky for these recruits, but I think it's likely that they beat some teams for these guys. And that's, I think, a good sign for Wichita State and the place they have to start. Like, they have to win these battles for these players in this range if they're ever going to get to adding players in the next range, which is where we all probably want them to be. But in the short term, as you lose players like Washington and Ballard, and you got to take that sting, being able to compete for the level of players that they were able to in the portal, I think is a good sign for the program. Now, of course, all the pressure is on Paul Mills, and can you coach these guys up? Now, can you make what looks like a good roster on paper? I don't think there's anybody who follows Shocker basketball and follows this stuff at least moderately closely would tell you, yeah, I don't like the way that those pieces fit. I think everybody's generally pleased with it. Now you got to go turn it into wins.
Well, nobody knows. I mean, you have no idea. Like, right. Moderately pleased, sure. Like, I mean, every slot on the team right now, it looks like is filled. I think the only way that you would be like not moderately pleased with the roster would be if they had open scholarship positions and they weren't able to get anybody. I think.
I think there could have been additions where we were like, oh, this
like who and from where? Like, what are we talking about?
I'm here? Trying to use. I don't want to use examples of specific players because I don't.
Like it doesn't.
I'm not trying to take anything away from players, so it's really hard. But like players that didn't produce at their prior stop and are just players.
There are a couple of guys that are
in this group. There are, and I'm trying not to go after these guys specifically, but there are. But if it was only that, right? Like if it was only that, I would be a little leery, right? I'm gonna give you another example. So last year, and this is where it's like you have two different things happening. So last year for KState, on paper, and the way that they attacked the portal, right? I don't want to speak for anybody else. I felt great about it. I was like, man, this tells me that KState is a player in this world, right? In this portal world. The problem is it didn't translate over to wins. Not enough anyway. So you have two different things. And I wouldn't call last year a success, but I would say that as that was being put together, it gave us a good indicator of where the program stood sort of in this NIL world. And that was in a good place, right? K-State was able to go and get a lot of high-level players. You knew they were spending money, resources. The players were committing to come play for Coach Tang. Like all those things were good. Then you had the season start. It didn't play out well. They didn't have a good enough season. It was a disappointment. So it's like there's two different things. So in that first thing, for the Shockers this year, I like what they've been able to do. I like the caliber of player they've brought in. And I think at least against their peers in the American, it's a good sign that they've been able to bring in players of that caliber. Now, of course, the much more important piece, we're not going to know until next fall. And that's how this team plays, right? I think I'm trying to look at it two different ways because otherwise, like we're just like, we really don't know anything until the fall. But I do think it's important for a program that had nothing in the NIL space not that long ago. I think it is important to take a look at what they're able to do and how that moves forward because they'll never be able to get back to where they were if they're not bigger players in the portal. And I think as far as like progress of what kind of player they are in the portal, this class tells me they're continuing to make progress there. If that makes any sense.
No, yeah, I mean, it kind of does. I mean, I think that what makes it a more difficult exercise is that we don't know what each one of these players commanded in this space. We don't know. And until, and who knows if this will ever happen or not, but until there is kind of an open marketplace for that sort of thing and like transparency and visibility, from the top down everywhere in college athletics, where like there are contract negotiations and this player is looking for this on the open market and they're commanding this amount of NIL dollars and revenue sharing and all of that, then we don't know. We can guess and say, all right, the guy that they landed yesterday from Nichols that averaged over 11 points a game, whatever, was probably fairly coveted by other teams, and we think maybe he commanded X amount of dollars from Wichita State, but we don't know that for sure. You talked to yesterday, and I don't disagree with you about how Brian Amunike from Fresno State that signed with Wichita State, you think is probably a guy that would be coveted in the transfer portal, and that teams would want his skill set. I don't disagree with you, but we don't know that for sure. So we can guess and say that, Wichita State's probably a player in this market now, and they're able to win some of these recruiting battles and all of that. Clearly, they've won the battles because they've landed the players, but we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We have no idea, if these other players were highly pursued by other programs or not. We can guess at it. We can, make an educated guess that, with what they do and how they have performed at their previous stop, that they probably were. But again, we don't know that for sure. So I'm not trying to throw water on this at all, because on paper it looks really good. And the fact that they've been able to address some of the clear needs and the clear deficiencies that we knew this roster was going to have, and that Paul Mills was going to be tasked with fixing and bringing in, solutions for those issues. Yeah, we can say it looks like he's been able to do that. It looks like he's been able to do that. So it's just a cautious, moving forward of, I'm not going to get way over the top and be like, this looks amazing and I'm so excited and this team should win an American Conference championship. And we have no clue on that. So I'm not going to, go there.
I'm kind of done with the predictive nature of this. There's no way, this year will be worse than ever, right? It's going to be worse than ever. I'm just I'm trying to go in right now and
find where they
find
finish in the conference. Is that what it'll be worse than ever as far as their
trying to predict.
Oh, trying to predict. Okay.
It's never been more difficult, right? Every team is starting over almost, not across the country. So that part of it's going to be hard. All I really want to know on May 8th, and I want to get excited about players too. Don't get me wrong. I want to be excited about these players and everything else. But all I really want to know on May 8th, as the administration is pinning open letters to the fan base if we need X amount of dollars, all I want to know is that Paul Mills is able to go into the portal, contact a player that he likes and identifies, and win that battle against, at minimum right now, his peers, which would be other teams at the level of the American. That's all I want to know on May 8th of 2025. On May 8th of 2026, I'd love to know that they might identify a player that's being courted by a Big 12 team heavily, and they can win that battle because Wichita State basketball means something. And in 2027, a step further, you know what I mean? I just want to know that, as they just lost their two key players to the portal, who before that, I would have said I'd like them to be able to keep those players, as they're going to be heavily courted by bigger programs. And they were Mississippi State and was it Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They weren't there, obviously. So now where are they? Where do they stand in the pantheon of college basketball today? That's what we're trying to know. It's almost impossible to know it. So as they bring in,
I'm not
pieces
sure that it's super realistic to be able to expect that consistently they're going to win recruiting battles.
Well, they're not right now
against Big 12. Again, well, you mentioned Big 12, against Big 12, SEC, Big 10 type schools consistently. Yeah, maybe every once in a while they're able to snag somebody. They're able to, and there are a caveat, there are a ton of different reasons why that may happen. That may not even have anything to do with NIL dollars. It could be proximity. There could be somebody that wants to come play closer to home. Maybe there's a connection with Paul Mills somewhere. You never want to say never, but I think that every once in a while, sure. If you really want to look at, what the ceiling might be for that. Yeah, maybe every once in a while they can win a recruiting battle against a top tier program
I
in a
think
different conference, but I don't think that's realistic to expect that all the time.
I don't expect it, but I think there's nothing wrong with desiring Wichita State to be able to compete with Memphis, with Creighton, with some of these other similarly placed schools that do a very good job and have no problem doing
But
what
to
we were
say
just
on,
saying.
and
Now
you just
they're
said
not
this,
there yet.
You just said this, but to expect that on May 8th of 2026 that they win a recruiting battle against a Big 12 school for a player, I think is unrealistic.
It's unrealistic, but I don't think it's out of the world of possibility. If they have a really good year and get the fan base fired up, it could come at any point, right? Again, this is a great fan base. It's a great donor base. Maybe 2027. I don't care what it is. I just want them there whenever, as quickly as they can get there, to be at that standing. They're not there now. So
I mean,
while
I think
they're
that the expectation, because, and this isn't like,
I don't have any.
I'm not being Debbie Downer here at all. I just think that it's realistic to point out, like, hey, it could very well be that Paul Mills has to turn over his roster every single year moving forward, because that's just the state of college basketball.
Well, yeah, every
and
team
programs like Wichita State. Like, I think that, to be able to say, hey, because they signed a good amount of guys on paper going into this upcoming season, all of a sudden they're going to start winning recruiting battles against Big 12 schools, I think is kind of laughable.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying it's a good sign and a good step in the process to get back to that point someday. I'm not saying they're going to win a recruiting battle right now.
You said next year that they should start winning recruiting battles against Big 12 schools because of who they signed this year in the portal.
That's not at all what I said. We'll come right back. We're up against a break.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
what is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor, glad to be with you. Tim Fitzgerald, our KState Insider, coming up next hour. We've got all kinds of good stuff happening in the sports world. It's a busy time. It's hard to pick what you're going to watch each and every night. Each and every night, it's been fun to watch the Royals lately. 13 out of 15 games. Just keep on winning. Just keep on pitching like crazy. The run that the pitching staff is on right now is remarkable. It's as good a run as I can ever remember. And they had a great pitching staff a year ago. They finish up that series against the White Sox. They'll go for the 4-game sweep. That's a 1:10 first pitch, by the way. And you will hear it here on KFH, 1 o'clock. Quick shout out to Wichita State softball. They won the opening round. They play afternoon against North Texas. They play like 11 a.m. in the AAC tournament. But the Royals will play here on KFH. Excited to see if they can get that sweep. I hope they do now. It just like you feel greedy now. It's like, well, they got to finish the sweep today, right? Like it's the White Sox. They got to finish it up. But no, it's been pretty wild, and they've had a couple of games here lately where things are going their way, and that's a big part of doing something special like this. It's Bubic on the mound today, by the way, which you also feel very good about if you're a Royals fan.
Yeah, Michael Wacha pitched amazing last night. Bobby Witt Jr. hit another home run. It was great. It was what we wanted to see from the Royals, at least what I wanted to see. And actually, with that win, that's 14 of 16. So, I mean, even better. Like they've won 14 of their last 16 at this point. And so, considering where they were when they started this stretch of baseball to where they are right now, with the opportunity to get a sweep, and I know the schedule toughens up a little bit. After this series wraps up, they've got the Red Sox and the Astros on the road and that sort of thing.
Can wait till
June. A little bit. But they can absolutely, with the way that they've been playing and the way their pitchers have been throwing, they can absolutely continue this on.
In June, they get Detroit, the Yankees, the A's, the Rangers, the Padres, the Dodgers are in June. Seattle starts July. They're about to hit another tough stretch, but it ain't yet. And so this is all timing out really well. Like it's all like you if you're the Royals and you're on a heater and you're playing these teams, like this is good. Pile them up. Pile up the wins. We already talked about the Tigers and what they're doing. So, yeah, that's why we look at today against the White Sox. Like, don't let your foot off the gas. Home games against Boston. Houston still struggle a little bit. St. Louis can't really score. So there's a lot there for the Royals to still go and attack here in this part of the schedule. while get it while the getting's good, for lack of a better term. Bullpen last night, Estevez, he hasn't, let me pull up his game log. He's, Ursig's been, we'll call it what it is. Ursig's been much better than Estevez this year. Estevez has given up runs, though, about it's about like every 8 appearances. Like he's like a little bit shaky, and it was a shaky one last night, and it was starting to get it was a little butt pucker in there in the night. There was just like, he didn't look like he could get anybody out. He did get the job done. I think that's important for a closer. But he's had to do that a few times here. But that's kind of his thing, Tommy. Like he's not afraid of allowing a little traffic out there on the bases. He's done that from time to time this year.
He's one of those closers, and there are quite a few that are like him, where if there's not a whole lot of drama, like they'll manufacture some drama and make the high leverage situation even higher. And then for whatever reason, with the ice water running through the veins, able to still close it out. And there have been really, really good closers over the years that have been that way, where it's not going to always be clean, but they typically will get the job done. And until Estevez gets shaky to a point to where he's blowing saves, you kind of take the good with the bad a little bit, because he's still closing out games, and it's not really cost the Royals up to this point.
Yeah, no, it's been fine. Like it's a weird dynamic. I don't know if you feel this way about it or not, but like if I was power ranking right now the Royals relievers, he for sure wouldn't be 1. I'm not sure he'd be 2 or even 3, but I'm very comfortable with him in that spot because he's done it before. Right? So it's like he's not been their best pitcher in the bullpen, but he's pitching in that coveted spot, and I'm okay with it. Like I'm fine with it for now. He just like that of all the like he just looks like he's never rattled out there, no matter what's happening. And there are nights where he's hittable. Last night was one of them, and he's able, for the most part, whatever the percentage is, 11 out of 13 times this year, he's able to get the job done. And he did it again last night, despite 3 hits allowed in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I mean his whip is high. I mean it's over 1.2. But the ERA, it's not like we're talking about him allowing a bunch of runs. Like he's getting guys on base, he's allowing traffic, but they're not coming in to score. It's not really blowing games. And so yeah, I mean, has Lucas Erceg been flat out nails? Absolutely. And he has really kind of solidified that 8th inning role, the setup guy for Estevez. And that's worked. That's been, a really effective bridge to Estevez in the 9th inning. Yeah, I mean, look, like I just mentioned, Estevez he's going to allow runners. He's going to make it a little nerve-wracking at times. And it was not a clean outing by any means last night.
It was pretty bad. He was missing a lot of pitches.
But you know what? Like he closed it out, and there wasn't a shutout at the end of the day. I think the thing about like Estevez, and it goes back to an often mentioned point with this team, is that can they score enough runs to be able to provide that support and a little bit of a cushion for guys like Estevez? And it was just enough for Estevez last night, but it was still enough. At the end of the day, it was still enough.
A big part, and you pointed this out well, a big part of this streak, and the biggest difference I think between this streak and the bad streak is the teams they're playing. But the next biggest part is a point you brought up a lot. It's being able to get to that part of the bullpen with a lead, and not having to hope that your offense can score late inning runs. If we look right now at the Royals relievers, Estevez, of the guys that are pitching frequently, is behind Erceg, Cruz, Lynch, and Schreiber and I agree. I think whip is very important for a relief pitcher, a late inning relief pitcher. He's behind all those guys. He's behind them in ERA. He's behind them in strikeout rate, I think, or right with them probably. But he's given up a lot more hits than any of those guys have. So, like, those numbers are all there, but he still has that thing that none of them do, and that's experience in the spot. And I do think that matters a lot. Like, I don't care what these other guys are doing in the earlier innings. I don't think anybody wants to see John Schreiber, who's pitching really well right now, become the team's closer. Like, Estevez knows that spot. He knows what to do. Yes, it's a little shaky. And you know what? If it gets real shaky, they got lots of options down there. But to be able to say that, though, from where we were at this point last year with that bullpen, you remember that? How bad that was? It was like, are they ever going to hold a lead? Ever? It was bad, 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 bad. And they were still winning games despite it, right? They were just really bad at the back end of games. For them to be able to attack it the way they did at the deadline and then into this offseason to where we can now look at that bullpen and how many arms they have back there is a wild turnaround. Like, to one of the worst to one of the best. And it all happened since July. When did they start to make those trades? June, July, whenever it was last year.
Yeah, into June.
I mean, goodness gracious. That is crazy. Crazy to think.
Yeah, and it, really, from a personnel perspective, individually, I mean, remember it was James MacArthur, like he was the guy a season ago, and so yeah, the question was, can anybody hold a lead for the Royals? But really specifically, it was, can James MacArthur hold a lead for the Royals? And it was not good at this time last year. There were so many games where you felt like they had it, and then the bullpen blew the game, and it's been a complete 180 turnaround. They've been able to get out to leads and then hold those leads, and due in large part to the fact that their rotation has been lights out. I mean, again, Michael Wacha, I don't think, at least for last night's game, is getting the credit he deserves. I mean, it was an absolute gem through 7 innings for him. Shutout, 7 innings, 3 hits. That was it, and really held the White Sox lineup down for sure. And it allows you to shorten the game up. It allows you to not have to worry about bringing out 3 or 4 or 5 relievers in one game. It was 2 guys, and then it was just like a short little bridge right to the 9th inning, and Estevez was able to come in and close things out. So that can't be understated for sure. I mean, the fact that you're getting these kinds of outings night in and night out. Again, yeah, teams that are not great. So that is true, but it's Major League Baseball. Any team can beat any team on any given night. And the fact that the rotation throughout this stretch has been so lights out, they've been able to work with the lead, turn it over to the bullpen, and the bullpen has been able to hold that lead. I mean, that's been invaluable.
It was Walker's best start of the year, for sure. His longest start of the year. And they don't have a day off this week. So that was, to your point, that's like, it is critical that he gets deep into a game. That's immensely impactful. Maybe they won't need the back end today. Jason brought this up a while ago. Jason, sorry, it's taking some minute to get to it. Don't mind too much that the Royals aren't scoring a ton, but I am a little nervous that they aren't at least putting more pressure on the other teams offensively. Obviously, people that listen to the show know I agree with you on that, Jason. It's not a problem now, but it's a problem I do think that they'll have to address at the deadline. And right now, is the pitching going to hold up to this pace? Probably not, because they won't be playing some of these teams, but they just need to be consistent. And I think that they will be. I also think the difference a little bit right now between now and when they were playing in the bad streak, because they haven't really scored runs at any point this year. That's not changing probably until something happens with the roster that will come down the road. One of the big differences to what we were just talking about, the bullpen has really settled into roles now that they weren't in. How many of those games did Zerpa cost them? You know what I mean? Like, so I think if you took like the now more defined bullpen roles and guys in their comfort spots and picked that up and placed it in that earlier part of the season, they wouldn't have all been losses. And so I think, look, the offense is a problem right now, but it's not a bad enough problem that they're not winning games, and they're not going to, like, there's nothing to do about it. Like, it's going to be the offense until they get to the point where they're able to make a move. Luis Robert was about
or until they get to the point to where they start losing games because of their offense.
Right. And I hate to think about it that way, because that just makes me think about the daunting schedule of June. Like there will be, I hope, before that part of the schedule comes, that you'll see more progress from some of the bats that are currently in the lineup. I don't think that's the end game, where I thought maybe a month ago that could be the end game, is just everyone needs to kind of start doing what they. I don't know that I'm there anymore. Like, I don't know that everyone doing what they're supposed to is going to be enough, but it might be enough. It'll be enough right now because they still play a softer schedule. But my whole point with all of it all week has been, I don't think that's going to be enough for October. And so they've got to make that move. We'll come back. We'll get into it a little bit more in hour number 2. Tim Fitzgerald in hour number 2. We got a giveaway for you. Stick around. More Sports Daily right after this.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is another hour of Sports Daily. Let's kick it off with an HTO giveaway. If you want to win some free iced tea, you can do that right now. Just text the keyword tea to 20357. We got some sun shining. Never a better time to try some HTO iced tea, whether you're a first-timer or a long-time fan. You can get a free cup on us at either East or West Wichita or in Derby. That's T20357. Good luck, everybody. One entry per day, message and data rates apply. Welcome back into Sports Daily. We were talking Royals there. We can finish up with the Royals, and then we'll move on to maybe some NBA playoffs. We've got Tim Fitzgerald coming up in this hour. If you want to get back to our shocker conversation that we had about the new recruit, you can go back and listen to that on the Odyssey app. So, Tommy, as we look at it, it's Bubic today. They don't get a day off until the 15th. So it's not until this time next week, until next Thursday, that they get a day off. It's a good point about Waka's depth into that game, because now it leaves all those other relievers we talked about fresh for this one. Bubic does have the ability. Let me go look at Bubic's. Let's look at Bubic's game log here. How many, what's the deepest he's gone this year? Because he's got the conversion, of course, from being a reliever. He has given them 7 one time. He's pitched, completed 5 innings every start this year. He's completed 6 innings 3 times, and then he's got a 7-inning start. So he's capable of doing the same thing against this offense. He has been lights out this year, been one of my favorite, if not my favorite, stories for the Royals this year. And he goes up against the White Sox in some afternoon baseball to try and complete a sweep. I think that's where we start. Why wouldn't we? The pitching has been outstanding, and we'll see if Bubic can keep the train rolling.
Yeah, the fact that they don't get any days off coming up soon, being able to lean on your starters to go deep into games and like what Waka did last night, I do think is important for Kansas City to continue on and do what they're doing. I would imagine that once we start to get, if we ever got into a situation where during a stretch of baseball where there aren't a whole lot of days off and the starters are not able to go deep into ball games, they get beat up on early or whatever, and you start leaning on your bullpen a whole lot more, that's maybe when things go off the rails a little bit, and you then need to rely on the bats to get going to try to get back into ball games. But that's not really been the recipe. That's not what we've seen lately from Kansas City at all. And so if they're able to get another quality start from Kris Bubic, and I'm not even suggesting that he goes 7, if he goes 6, if he maybe if he even goes 5 or into the 6th inning, at that point, I do feel like you've got a strong enough bullpen, especially with the lead, to be able to keep you in it.
I've tried to think a lot as we've discussed the offense a lot this year, of like teams historically who have I don't expect the Royals to be near the bottom of baseball offensively like they are now. I think internally they'll get better than that. But I'm trying to remember back to really good teams that really struggled offensively. I want to say there was a Rays team or two over the years that fit that profile. And I want to say in those early Bruce Bochy Giants years, there were probably some teams that fit that profile a little bit. So there's a path there. It's just like, it's a really weird thing to see it because I don't believe what I'm seeing offensively. Like, I don't believe that that's what it is. Like, I don't believe what we're seeing is the true potential of the offense. And so while they're playing this softer part of the schedule and they're pitching like this, it doesn't really matter. And that's okay. Like, that's fine. It's really like, what are we looking at? What is the problem? And even as some of these guys, Tommy, are starting to hit more, they're still struggling to score runs. It's really strange. We knew they weren't going to have any power. We could look at this roster before the year and say, yeah, that's not going to be a team because of the ballpark they play in, because of the number of hitters that they will put in the lineup that just flat are not power hitters. Like, they're never going to be a power team. That's not going to be their game, and that's fine. I don't think they should ever build that way. The greatest Royals teams we've seen in this generation were not power teams, right? Like that, not playing at Kauffman Stadium. So as they have, like, Kyle Isbell's heating up. We talked about Drew Waters. Michael Garcia's hitting. Bobby Witt Jr. is hitting. Michael Massey's starting to get some hits. Like, all these guys are doing, but they're still not leading to any runs. And I'm like, what is it? Like, what would be the catalyst for this team to just open up offensively? And I can't figure out what it is. And as they go and try to identify players, like, what would be the thing? Clearly their deficiency is power, but I don't know that that's going to solve things for a guy that hits a home run a week or whatever, maybe two. That doesn't fix your overall issue. I can't quite figure out what it is right now.
I think some of it is that, especially last night, some of the runs or some of the hits that they got were 2-out hits. And so they're getting runners on base but they're not in great positions to be able to drive those runners in. That's not always the case, but I feel like we've seen that more often than not when, it's not like a lot of times they're getting a lot of traffic on with no outs or 1 out or whatever. And so a lot of 2-out hits, getting on base, not opening up a ton more opportunities to be able to drive those runs in. And so I do think that that's part of it for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's just kind of been a lack. And it's been one of the, I guess, negative things about this team is that it's not a lack of getting on base. I mean, they had 10 hits last night. It's the matter of getting those runs across the board. That's always been the challenge.
And taking advantage of it. Yeah, and that was something they were really good at last year. We mentioned Salvi and Benny, and it really could be as simple as those two, which I think it might be. Like, those two were RBI machines a year ago, and they're just not this year. But I think that's also unfair to them individually to have that. I mean, it's not, because they're hitting in the middle of the lineup, and Salvador Perez is a future Hall of Famer, and Vinny Pasquantino is expected to be that. So maybe it's the wrong thing for me to say it's unfair. We've seen Salvi pick it up, and it still is like overall, we'll see. It's not, again, I foresee it being a problem like, I don't know, May 19th when they have to hit the road and go to San Francisco and then Minnesota, and then they've got Cincinnati and Detroit. Like, that's where, so what does that give them? With Boston, Houston, St. Louis coming up, gives them another couple of weeks to try and figure this out, and it gets you closer. We'll see. Again, none of it matters if they pitch like this.
By the way,
if they pitch like this the rest of the way, it doesn't matter. But
Vinny's on a little bit of a heater right now. I mean, he's got his average up to 210. He's not lighting the world on fire, like from an overall average standpoint, but over the last couple of weeks, he's hitting. He didn't have any RBIs last night, didn't drive anybody in, but he was 2 for 4. So he's got that average up over 200. And, if he can continue on that path, is Vinny ever going to be a hit for average kind of guy like we see from Bobby Witt Jr. or Michael Garcia? Probably not, but he can definitely get back up into the respectable range for sure. And that's kind of what you look for from him.
His 3-year average is 270, 268. I mean, if he gets back to that, they're cooking. right? Like they're going to be just fine. His OPS is over his career a little over league average. But like they'll take that. They'll just take him being what he is, and we'll see if he gets back there. I think he will. That average lift, his floor, Tommy, the worst of it, once we kind of got into it, was at the end of April, it was down at 174. And that's how much it's cut. And it's at 210 after yesterday. That's a pretty good jump over, a little more than a week. So another jump or two like that, and we'll see. I've told you this too. I also think he's hitting the ball hard and has been. Like he's been making good contact. Maybe there's a little bad luck in there. But again, if your starters are going to give you the kind of pitching they've had and you've got the kind of bullpen they have, they'll be okay for a while. They'll be okay at least for the next few weeks, probably. And maybe they'll just win them all like they're doing right now, 14 out of 16. That is crazy. And the reason I keep saying 15 is because this is the game technically that we circled when things were bad, 16 games, right? This is the 16th game. This is the end of it. Remember we said they went 11-5?
Yeah, they won the last game on that road trip to at least salvage 2-8 before they got in to this 16-game stretch.
So we were like, oh man, 11-5, they'd be right over 500. So how does 14-2 sound to that? That's just crazy. What a stretch. The Royals play right here on KFH, 1:00 today. You'll hear it. That coverage begins. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it all. You can also listen, by the way, at Odyssey.com. You can go to the Odyssey app if you are at work in the middle of the day. Probably a pretty good way to listen to the Royals. Just throw the earbud in and you're hard working and listening to the Royals with us here on KFH. All right, when we come back, it was another good night of NBA playoffs. Are the Knicks going to do this thing? They get another wild win? I mean, I think the Celtics are better on paper. Can they dig out of an 0-2 hole, though? I don't know. Going back to New York? We'll get into that one. The Thunder bounce back in a huge way. And I got to ask Max if our Winnipeg Jets are okay for the bet. So we'll do all that. We got Tim Fitzgerald later this hour as well. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of it's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Good morning, Jacob and Tommy. This is Kevin calling about the Royals. I'm curious what your thought is on how the Royals deal with having 4 possible first basemen on the roster when Jack gets called up, with Mark Canha, Vinny, Salvi, and Jack all able to play the position. Would a trade for an outfield piece be possible at that point? Just curious for your thoughts. Thank you.
Love that, Kevin. That's coming in from the Odyssey app where you can leave voice messages. Appreciate that. It's the elephant in the room, I think, organizationally, Kevin. Honestly, I would imagine it's an uncomfortable topic. When a guy like Jack Caglione's available to you in the draft, you take him, right? You just take him. You just, like, the thought to me of Major League Baseball teams drafting players based on the positions they need on the big league roster would be a fool's errand. There are teams that have done that. You just take, it's so hard to get graduated to the big league level, let alone be good. If you've got good players, you just take them. But now you have this situation. I wonder, Tommy, if the Royals were deficient at first base, like if they had a big hole, do you think Caglione would be in the big leagues yet? Because I think he might be. I mean, I think that's a part of the reason he's not called up yet. It's not the biggest reason, but I think it's probably part of the reason. but it's something they're going to have to work through as an organization. And it's not just, to Kevin's point, there's 4 guys that can play it. It's not just that. Canna is fine. Canna can play the outfit. Canna can do something else. The problem is you have 2 guys who kind of have to play there. In Vinny Pasquantino, we think, I don't know that he's ever played another position, but Salvador Perez, who's a catcher, needs time there. He can also DH for you, right? And so could Vinny in theory, and so could Cat. But you have 3 guys for 2 spots. I think Canna, I'm not worried about Canna. But you got 3 guys for 2 spots. And it's not just 3 guys. You've got 1 future Hall of Famer, 1 all-star caliber first baseman when he's right, and 1 of the top prospects in baseball who's tearing the cover off the ball in the minor leagues. That's why, Kevin, honestly, for me, I've been so frustrated that they won't play Caglione a little bit more in a corner outfield spot to see if he can do it down there. But yeah, it's one organizationally, Tommy, it's got to be uncomfortable.
It sure seems to me that there are 2 paths that they can go down. Number 1 is what you just mentioned, try to develop Jack Caglione as an outfielder. And then at that point, you've kind of solved a couple of different issues there because their outfielders, at least offensively, are not very good. And then on top of that, you're finding an everyday playing position for Jack Caglione, who is everybody's favorite prospect right now for good reason. And so that's one path for sure, but that's not an overnight thing. And I do think that, if he can play the outfield, that's a much slower process to get him up to the bigs. I just imagine the logjam and the complications that would come into play as you're trying to figure out if you're giving everybody enough playing time, where they're playing, I just think that that's kind of a game of chess, and it's really difficult to do, and it'd be a challenge for Matt Quatrero to accomplish. The other path, the other scenario is I kind of think the odd man out's probably Vinny Pasquantino, and I love Vinny Pasquantino. But if push comes to shove, like what happens if Jack Caglione can't play the outfield? What if they're just like, look, he's not developing at a corner outfield spot. We don't feel like defensively it's more of a liability than it is a benefit to have him out there, but we absolutely have to have his bat. We absolutely want him on the roster. You're not moving Salvador Perez. He's your captain. He's your future Hall of Famer. He's all of that. And he can catch and he can DH.
Yeah.
Vinny Pasquantino can play first base. Like that's it. He's a first baseman and he can DH as well. But it's hard for me to think that the odd man out's not Vinny Pasquantino if worst case scenario happens. And I think that we're a long way from that, but it is one thing that's been in the back of my mind for quite a while.
It's been in my mind since last year. I don't like that it's in my mind. Vinny Pasquantino is very much a heart and soul of this team player. I don't like that it's in my mind, but it's been in my mind for a long time because he's a non-power hitting first baseman. It's hard to not have power come from that position. It can be done. It's not the end of the world. But when the power is staring at you in the face, it's hard. I wouldn't say, here's what I wouldn't advocate for. I wouldn't advocate to trade Vinny Pasquantino. So don't misunderstand any of this. My preferred course of action is to put Cags in a corner spot in the outfield and kick the can down the road and just see what happens. Maybe he's really good at it, right? Like what I don't want to do is pretend like a young, talented baseball player is incapable of playing multiple positions.
But we don't know that, and he's not played.
Right. We don't know that he can, but we don't know that he can't either. So that's like, to me, it's like, why aren't you, like, he's in AA. You're worried about his bat. You're not worried about his defensive development at first.
Don't you think that if they were more confident in his abilities to play a corner outfield spot, they would be doing it? Like maybe they're telling us something without actually telling us something.
And that takes us to my less preferred path, which is moving a guy like Vinny Pasquantino. I don't think
like it's really easy to be, and we've both done this. It's really easy to say, just play him in the outfield. Why isn't he playing? Like,
well, I think
something without actually.
Yeah, if he can't do it, he can't do it. I think the point is, though, he's in AA. Let him try. And the only reason I say it is because almost everybody on this team, with the exception of Vinny Pasquantino, do a little mental exercise here. I believe everybody on the team, with the exception of Vinny Pasquantino, has or can play multiple positions, right? Am I missing anybody? There's not another player on the roster that has not played another position at some point in time over the course of their career. He's the only one.
I mean,
This isn't, this is
Freddie
an
Fermin
organization that moves
primarily
guys
a catcher,
around.
right? Like, does Freddie Fermin play anywhere else? He's pretty much a catcher.
He's played first base, I think.
Okay.
I think so. I'm pretty sure he has. So, like, everybody else does it. In the whole organization, it feels like Vinny's physically not capable of it, but I think because of his body type as much as anything else. But he's the only one. And so it's not, and maybe, right. I'm not like throwing stones at the Royals for not playing Cags in the outfield, especially if they don't think he can. But that creates this problem here. But it's a good problem. Problem is not the right word. It creates this situation. It's not a problem to have too many great players at a position. That's not a problem. It's a situation. It's a situation. So Vinny's contract, it's not like he's on some expiring contract either, right? Like, he's not. He's got a ton of value to the organization. He's not a free agent, Tommy, until 2029. Cag's clock hasn't even started ticking yet. Salvi, is there anybody that doesn't think Salvi has at least like 2-3 really productive years left? Like, it's not something that's going away quickly. So I don't know that there is another solution other than making a trade than Jack Caglione being capable of playing a corner outfield spot. That's the only other thing.
The only other thing I can think of is going back to Salvador Perez and saying, hey, man, we know you're getting older. You're going to have to be just a catcher. Like, we can't have you play first base. We can't have you. I mean, maybe every once in a while you can DH, but you're going to be a catcher. And then at that point, when you're catching, then Vinny is, DHing and Jack Caglione's playing first base. And then Mark Canha can play the outfield when he needs to.
Yeah.
Like, that's about the only other path that I can see. The only issue with that is Salvador Perez is no spring chicken. And
I think Salvador Perez would love that scenario. I think he'd love to catch every day. I
mean, they protect him, they protect his health and his longevity by not having him do that. And so that would be the only other path. And then you would have Vinny be your primary DH and let Jack play in the field as your first baseman. Then you've got, Salvi catching. And when he can't catch, he either DHs or he gets a day off. But at that point, I don't think you can put Salvi at first base, because then again, you've got 3 guys that can play first base, and you've got to try to, at least clear the lane for Caglione to be your starting first baseman.
So I'm trying to think of really good, like, comps to guys who are first basemen, like, who are just like, you just look at them and you're like, oh yeah, that's a first baseman, but who have also over the course of their career played the outfield, who have been such good bats that it was like, just find them a spot, right? Carlos Lee keeps jumping to mind. You remember Carlos Lee, El Caballo, the big burly first baseman. He played for the Astros and the Brewers forever. They stuck him out and left pretty frequently. This is a different sort of example. Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was an outfielder that has converted to a first baseman. How about Salvador Perez, a catcher that they're just like, you know what? We don't want you to catch every day. Go play first base. Like, that's what, I guess that for me is where, like, it is really, really hard for me to believe that Jack Caglione could possibly be that bad in the outfield. He's never really played out there, but I've looked at much less athletic, much less, speed, just the ability to run after a ball, which Cags has some speed. He's huge, by the way. I don't know if people have actually watched him. He's a monster. But there are so many examples of lesser athletes doing this thing that I cannot imagine he's that bad in the outfield.
Mind, if you go all the way back to his college career, he didn't play in the field at all. He was a starting pitcher and a DH.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't even have a comp going back to his college days of his prowess in the field, because he didn't have any. Like, that wasn't the role that he played. He was pitching and he was hitting. That's all he was doing on that team. Like, defensive abilities out in the field was not part of his game. very much at all in college. And so that makes it even more difficult because you have nothing you can even look back on in his college career and say, oh yeah, like he can do that.
I wonder if Vinny could play left field. Like, honestly, it's funny. We think of Vinny and his body type. You know what's crazy? I just looked at this. Vinny's huge, right? He's listed at 6'3", 245. Cags is bigger. He's 6'5", 250. He'll step on the field and be one of the largest baseball players in baseball. Like, he is a monster. Maybe it's worth, as you're looking to possible solutions without having to trade somebody, because I don't think anybody wants to do that. Maybe it's worth seeing if Vinny could play a little left field or right field in a game. You're late in a game. I mean, this sounds crazy, but I don't think it's that crazy. If they could ever get up on a team like 8-0, let's say you're up 8-0 and it's the back end, like, throw him on left. Hey, Vinny, let's take batting practice out there. Can you track down a fly ball? It's a spacious outfield. I get it. Maybe you don't do it at Kauffman Stadium. Maybe you only do it in smaller ballparks. I mean, I just get creative, because the greatest need for this team right now is very clearly the thing that Jack Caglione is doing very well. Like, it's an obvious fit and need on the roster, but it is like this logjam. Good problem to have. I can tell you this: Vinny Pasquantino would be coveted on the market, but if you want to start getting real crazy and thinking about potentially trading a player like Jack Caglione, which I feel like is almost next to impossible, you'd have to the trade asset that would come back on something like that. You're talking about like a perennial all-star outfielder that's playing for a bad team right now, or a team that's needing to move. I don't know that player exists. Like, who would that player even be at this point? I don't know who it would be, but it would have to be for a deal like that, like a controllable all-star caliber outfielder. If you were going to move a guy like Caglione, his controllability, his raw power, the production he's showing at this point in the minor leagues. And even if you win that trade and he reaches his upside, you'll probably regret it forever. It's not quite the equivalent of trading Bobby Witt Jr. It's not there. He's not that prospect. Bobby Witt Jr. was one of the great prospects of all time. He's not that, but he's pretty close to it right now. Like, he couldn't be doing better in reality. So I love that question, Kevin. It's one we wonder about all the time. And it brings up the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is, could they ever trade Vinny Pasquantino? Was it last year, Tommy? There were real rumors around that, weren't there? That wasn't just us wondering. Like, weren't there real... I think there was some substance to that, if I remember right.
I don't remember if there was or not. I mean, I know that there had been a little bit of, speculation that maybe that could be a target, but I don't know if that was ever a legitimate real thing.
The only reason I think it was is because it was right before he really turned it on and was like leading the league in RBIs before his injury. And we were like, man, good thing they didn't do something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he just starts hitting, and then you can take your time with Cags. I mean, they can obviously take their time now because they've won 13 out of their last 15 games. Real quick, Tommy, a couple of minutes here. The Thunder last night, there's not a lot to say about that game. Revenge game a little bit. That was certainly something. 149 to 106. Knicks Celtics, I think, is where the attention will lie today, though, as the Celtics, the defending champs, fall down 0-2. They didn't take as many threes. They cut their, the amount down by a pretty significant number, but they still didn't make any of them. And it's killing them right now. Live and die by the three.
What's killing them is the fact that they have led in both of these games, the majority of the games, and they haven't been able to win either one of them. And the Knicks have been able to come from behind and in both of the games and be clutch. That's what the Knicks did in the previous series. That's what they've done so far in this series with the Celtics, is the clutch shots, the comeback mentality, and all of a sudden Boston, who looked like a team that could repeat and have the talent to do that, they find themselves down 0-2, and really it's of their own doing. It's of their own making. And I know give the Knicks a ton of credit for their clutch shots, but the Celtics should have won both of those games. They led the majority of them, and they weren't able to get either one of them done.
Yeah, it's I still like who are you picking in this series? Like, even down 0-2. Are you picking the Knicks?
Oh no, I'm picking the Knicks.
I sure hope so. They deserve it. And people like to pile on New York sports fans. I get it. But when you think about like the Knicks, the Jets, like what if you were a Knicks fan, a Jets fan, and a Mets fan? Like there are plenty of suffering fans in New York. There are. I think playing at the Garden, I think the Knicks are cool. I got no issue with the Knicks. I think they're cool, and I hope they're able to get it done. They're up 2-0 going back home. Man, that'll be fun against that team too. That city's going to go up in flames. They're going to be so excited, and then they'll probably lose to the Pacers in the next round or something. I don't know, or Cleveland. But it's good to see it. And how do you not love Jalen Brunson? The Thunder, I mean, that's pretty impressive. I don't think Denver cares. Denver got it back home, split. They won on the road. What do you think about that series overall?
The Thunder showed why they should be a team to be reckoned with, at least in the Western Conference for sure. I thought it was surprising that they fell down 1-0. They had to have this game and even the series last night, and they knew that. Like it was I think you called it a revenge game earlier. Like it absolutely was that. They flexed a little bit on Denver, and at this point, I feel like that's probably going to continue. I still really like the Thunder. I still really feel like they're the team that they're my pick to go all the way.
I don't have a pick to go all the way. I don't know enough, but yeah, I think that was an impressive enough win to swing that back, even with the split going back home. Rick, real quick on our conversation about the first base for the Royals, he said it's going to be tough adjusting to major league pitching alone, yet alone learning a new position. I don't know that, Rick, anybody's advocating for the first time Caglione sees outfield time is at the big league level. He's in Double-A right now. Now's the time if you're going to do it. Not once he gets called up. Like you got to find out if he can do it. You don't learn on the fly in the big leagues. We're not advocating for that if that was unclear. All right, we'll come back. Tim Fitzgerald should be in next. We'll talk a little K-State when we return.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20+ flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together.
Make yourself known now.
8310-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, joining us now on the program, our buddy Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com, always locked in to everything happening with K-State athletics. Fitz, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you boys?
We're good. You know, we're just entering and chugging along in the transfer portal season, trying to cipher through these court cases and all of the things. I want you chimed in on or at least retweeted something. Nick Saban is making a little noise, I think, trying to get into the president's ear, it sounds like, about maybe some possible solutions. I guess I would just start with, and I don't have a real strong opinion about this. Do you think Nick Saban's a good voice to find solutions in all of this? Is he with the times enough, or is he too old man on the porch?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'll be honest. Nick Saban surprised me a little bit in the way he speaks about things now post coaching. He seems to present himself as someone who wants to be a steward of the game. At least, some of the comments, about the amount of money being spent in college sports. And I'm like, well, yeah, Alabama did a lot of that. And Jacob, I think we've come to the point now where there's going to be a resolution of some sort. And here's why. If you saw the $40 million club put out by Indiana coach Curt Cignetti, it's showing what football programs are spending around $40 million to build their rosters this year, which is absolutely absurd. There's no longstanding SEC teams. Texas is the only SEC team in there. along with Texas Tech, which is the problem is they've intruded on the wealthy club, and that's upset some people. But without any SEC teams, now all of a sudden the SEC's like, hold on, if this turns into wealth-based and not just revenue-based, a program like SMU can outspend SEC programs. And now it's a problem. See, that's what bothers me. It's not a problem until the SEC isn't at an advantage. But we all know college sports is a mess. And if they want to form a presidential commission on this, let's see what they come up with, because this whole system's so broken. We need a new system. This system can't be resolved. You can't patchwork this one back together. It has been destroyed by the courts and honestly by the way the NCAA has handled this. So we need to go back to the table, probably with the assistance of Congress to set some things up, if you can get Congress to do anything, and then proceed from there. But I'm hopeful. But back to your question, I don't know what to think of Nick Saban. He has represented the uber wealthy of college sports basically for most of his career.
It's certainly, if you want something fixed, going to the government to get it fixed doesn't usually seem like a great idea. But I mean, hey, at this point, it is what it is. The NCAA has proven themselves to be over the years an extremely effective lobbyer. Like that's what they do. They're great at that. And, basically being a roadblock for any kind of meaningful progress and moving things forward. I mean, the NCAA as a entity has been drug along kicking and screaming and has fought this every step along the way. It's hard for me to think that even with the presidential commission and even with Nick Saban co-chairing it and all of that, it's hard for me to think that the NCAA is going to go along with really anything that even remotely threatens to upend their power in the way that they have been ruling for decades.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's basically going to take a full-on rebellion from membership, particularly Division I, because this doesn't affect 2 and 3 nearly as much. And Division I's going to need to assert itself with seeking changes or departing the NCAA. And I think only that threat will get reform. I mean, in an ideal world, you go in and remake the NCAA into what it needs to be. But as you mentioned, the NCAA never seems to recognize that it's part of the problem. Even as the courts rule this stuff, even as fans and coaches have said it for years, the NCAA thinks, it's the gatekeeper of purity for college athletics, when in reality, they've been a big cause of this because of their inequitable application of the rules so often. And now just kind of sitting out decisions they don't like from the courts and just not reacting to it and letting things spin wildly out of control. That's not what leadership's about.
Well, listen, it'd be cannibalism to tell the NCAA to, get rid of itself. It's not going to, it's not, I think, maybe I'm in the minority. I think the NCAA can still have a role in college athletics. It's just different. Like we do need an organizing body for all the tournaments and all the different things that have to happen. It can still play an important role. I just like the idea that one set of rules should be the same for the very obviously uneven playing field that, by the way, has always existed in college sports. It's now just more front and center than ever before. Like that idea that one group can govern all of that, that's what doesn't make sense. The solution has to be the conferences. Like I don't want the other solution, which is another organization to start that only features some schools and not the others, right? So to me, it's pretty easy. Just like the conferences, you govern within a set of rules in the conference.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I think the conferences are going to have to take control of this. And, if anything, within the NCAA, I think the Division I has an argument to break free because Division II and III gets to vote on a lot of their stuff. And they're like, why? This doesn't affect them. And they have way more votes. It doesn't make sense. I think Division I probably wants to have complete control of his existence and try to set out rules that work for it. And if the NCAA won't do that, then you will see a rebellion. But if they kind of get on board with reform, instead of just talking about it, actually thinking of ways to reinvent itself, that I think it can survive.
Let's talk a little bit about K-State basketball. Fitz came down a few days ago that Jerome Tang has a new member of his coaching staff. Bill Peterson comes in as an assistant coach, and he's coached with Jerome Tang before at Baylor. He was in a support staff role there, but he's been at a bunch of different levels of basketball for a long time, has worked with a lot of really notable NBA players as well. What does Bill Peterson bring to Jerome Tang and to the staff?
Experience and knowledge. If there's been a knock against this coaching staff, is they didn't come in with enough knowledge as head coaches and schematics and those type of things. They were trying to do it as a group think, and it just hasn't worked. And I think going out and hiring a veteran, an old fart that's been around the block. I think, if you want to call mid-60s that, but that's exactly what they brought to the table, as someone who's seen a lot of basketball, coached a lot of basketball as a head coach at times, has worked with players at all levels. And I think this is a really important step for the program, maybe to begin to carve out its total identity of who it is and what kind of players it wants and what style of play it takes to the court. And hopefully that this coach can help form that for Jerome Tang.
Do we know anything else? Have you guys dug anything else up? Had a chance to find anything else about the Serbian superstar coming in?
Well, anytime nowadays when you're going over to Europe and getting into these clubs and trying to find a player, you have to buy out a contract. These are, even though they're the equivalent of college level play over there, these are clubs that are paying. So these players are under contract. So it gets a little more complicated. You got to entice the player to come and entice the club to release them from the contract. And I think that's kind of where it's at right now in those negotiations.
All right, Fitz, what do you guys have going for us at Go Power Cat? What else is cooking there?
Well, we did a lot of discussion on the loss of Tremaine Carroll, the strength and conditioning director for football, and how that might impact. And we'll continue to look at that because his departure to USC kind of came out of left field, and it was an internal promotion at K-State, and we'll explore that some more. But the guys are working on a podcast, and just same old for the month of May.
All right. Tim Fitzgerald, gopowercat.com. Hope all is well in this calm before the storm here pretty quick.
Good to hear from you, boys.
There goes Fitz. Appreciate it. If you missed anything with Fitz there, you can go back. Always love picking Fitz's brain about the happenings of bigger picture college athletics. He's been a long time representative of schools that aren't quite up there financially with the mega powers, but who still deserve a place at the table, like K-State. And I think that perspective is always good as we, Tommy, get into these larger scale discussions about what should be happening. I can't decide if I think Nick Saban being at the charge of the changes for college sports is a good thing or not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't know.
I mean, Nick Saban historically has been on the side of the fence of players should not be compensated. Like that's been
not like they are now. Yeah.
Not well. I mean, he's been from an abolitionist point of view as far as NIL and the money being made and all of that should not exist. Amateurism, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I mean, that'll be interesting, to see how he fits into this commission. The one thing I always go back to, generally speaking, in my life and just about every area of my life, whenever I hear like the whole, the knock on the door and, hey, we're the government, we're here to help. I'm always like, I'm good. I'll pass. I'm good.
That's Paul Savage's favorite analogy for any of this.
So I've always been in that world, just in anything in my life. And so if college sports cannot fix itself and they have to turn things over to the government to fix it for them, it must be in really, really bad shape.
Well, you can't. The problem they're facing is the legal problems. Like they need laws in place to help guide them to the end. I think that's the challenge. I don't know that college wants to involve the government because I don't think. You mentioned they're a lobbying arm, the NCAA. They're not going to like what politicians can pull from popularity out of this. They're not going to like it. That's not going to be good for them. So it's hard. Now you're seeing, though, and maybe this is, I never give the NCAA credit for patience. this could be a place where patience is going to pay off for them a little bit, because there isn't anybody that loves what's happening in the transfer portal right now. Nobody does, right? Coaches don't. I mean, players do, probably to some degree because they're getting paid through it, but like fans don't, coaches don't, kids are getting lied to. It's just like, it's weird and kind of yuck and all that kind of stuff. This is the first year we've seen that. So maybe it'll help build momentum to more legislation to be more restrictive. Could be. I mean, it's possible. It's possible, certainly. But we're a long way from it still. I don't know how long. Nobody does. Who knows? But Saban's in the president's ear. I don't know. I mean, that could be a wild development in all of this. All right, we'll tell you what's coming up today. A little more Sports Daily. Don't go away.